Imagine what your life would be like if at any point you might develop pain suddenly that was so severe that you had to spend days in the hospital seeking relief. That's what life is like for the 100,000 people in the United States living with sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease is a genetic disease mostly found in people of African or Caribbean origin. It causes the red blood cells to take a sickled shape. In this shape, the cells are sticky. They stick to each other as well as the white blood cells, and they block the blood vessels. This blockage stops blood flow. Tissue can't get the oxygen that the red blood cells carry. The tissue dies, organs are damaged, and severe pain results. Currently, this pain is mostly treated with opioids, but opioids are dangerous, as we've seen in the current opioid crisis. My thesis seeks to examine if we can use cannabinoids, the active ingredient in marijuana, in sickle cell disease. Cannabinoids act on the nervous system and are effective for the treatment of pain, but they also act on the white blood cells and actually reduce cell stickiness. A reduction in cell stickiness could possibly reduce these episodes of cell blockage, which could reduce organ damage. But very little is known about the effect of cannabinoids in people with sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease, in fact, has been under-researched in general. For instance, in 2011, cystic fibrosis, a genetic disease with similar severity, received 11 times as much funding per patient as did sickle cell disease. The first step of our research was to determine if our patients were already using illicit marijuana. And we found that 45% of them were, and when asked why they were using it, 91% said because it treated their pain. Based on this, my mentor worked with local advocacy groups and had sickle cell disease added as a medical marijuana qualifying condition in Connecticut. I then examined patients who received medical marijuana, and I found that after receiving it, in the next 6 months, they had a reduction in their average rate of admissions to the hospital. I now want to systematically examine the effects of cannabinoids directly on cell stickiness. To do this, I have designed a trial using dronabinol, which is an FDA-approved cannabinoid-containing medication. Subjects will either receive dronabinol or placebo for 2 weeks. Then, after a rest period for their bodies to go back to normal, they'll receive whichever they didn't receive previously. I'll compare these 2 periods and look at pain complaints and opioid use, but I will also take blood samples during these 2 periods, and I will compare markers of cell stickiness to see if dronabinol actually makes the cells less sticky. If cannabinoids are effective for the treatment of pain, then this will give my patients a safer non-opioid medication that they can use. However, currently the average person with sickle cell disease will die in their mid-40s due to accumulated organ damage. If cannabinoids can reduce cell stickiness, then they might not only help my patients live better, but longer.